Well, I want to welcome everyone to the Prosperous in 60 live masterclass, and this is the first session. So what we're going to cover over the next several weeks is we're going to cover how to get consistent cash flow in your business, how to have more free time and enjoy your life, and how to design your dream business. Now, if you look in the chat box, it'll let you know that I'm going to cover a specific topic. Right now, everyone on the call is muted, and that is done for sound quality reasons. Naturally, we don't want a lot of feedback. I will be recording this. You'll receive an email with a link to the recorded version after the call. Now, that being said, if you have questions during the call, I will answer them provided we have time to get to them. If you would like your questions answered for next week, email them in advance. And then during the live sessions, you're welcome to ask questions during that time. So today, what I really want to cover is more into creating a direct response customer acquisition system and really what that means, what a direct response customer acquisition system is, what it can do for your business, how it can help you create consistent cash flow, how it can help you get more time out of your life, and really how to use it to create your dream business. I have received a couple of questions from people who signed up for this call, and whether they're on the call or not, I'm going to answer those questions after I'm done. So, one of the things that about a direct response customer acquisition system that I think is so important to understand, it's very different from where you chase clients, where you chase people. A direct response customer acquisition system is about having customers and prospects and clients come to you instead of you going after them. And, the frustration in most sales, in most businesses comes and is centered around when you really just don't have enough clients coming to you. So when you don't have enough clients coming to you, what it ends up making you do is either A, you quote more jobs. I mean, naturally, you're going to quote more jobs, right? But that's going to force you to be a lower price. And being the lowest price is the fastest, easiest way to go broke. And so that's not a good option, although many people use that option because they don't think they have another choice. And that's just not the case. So what are your choices? Well, first and foremost, I believe you need to know who your ideal client is. And that starts with knowing them on a more intimate level. And what I mean by that is, for instance, I know my clients are typically business owners. They tend to be hardworking individuals. They invest a lot of time in their business. They invest a lot of energy in their business. They're not afraid to invest in themselves. They do believe it that they're put on this planet by their creator. They're hardworking. They bust their butt, to make things happen in their life. They're not afraid to take a risk. They're not afraid, to take that next step. But they may not have all the answers, so they seek the help of others. They're not a know-it-all. They're the type of people who probably a little similar to you, because I tend to attract to myself the people that are similar to me, not exactly like me. There are no carbon copies in the world, but you need to know who your ideal client is, and it's usually centered around somebody that you'd like to do business with. And the people you like to do business with are typically people that have similar interests as you. And the reason I think that is the first step to building a big clientele or a good clientele is because you like to do business with people that are similar to you. So if you're going to build your business, it should be built around doing business with people you like. So now, what are the key components of a direct response customer acquisition system? Well, number one, I believe you need a lead magnet. And a lead magnet is a piece of content that describes your client's problem in great detail. They have a problem. I mean, if you're in business for one of two reasons. You want to solve a problem or make your client's life better, sometimes both. Well, what a lead magnet does is it really goes after that problem. And typically a lead magnet is focused on one problem, maybe even two problems that are very similar, or maybe even five problems that are very similar, but they're all focused on a problem, in a very similar problem. And that being said, the first thing a lead magnet does is it really accentuates that problem, it amplifies that problem in the client's life, and makes them understand that they do have this problem. One of the questions I'm going to answer in a little while is directly related to problems that clients have. But once you know what that problem is, your lead magnet wants to make sure that prospect, that person reading the lead magnet or watching a video, a lead magnet can be a printed document like a PDF. It can be an e-booklet. It can be an actual printed booklet. It can be a video. It can be a YouTube video. It can be a YouTube channel. It can be a podcast. It can be an audiobook. It can be a lot of different things. But that being said, a lead magnet is designed to attract your perfect client to yourself, to your business, and then it's going to present them with the problem they have, and it's going to show them that there is a solution to their problem. That's a key. But the other aspect of a lead magnet is the lead magnet positions you as an expert in your category, your business, in your category in your business, especially if you're extremely specialized. And it doesn't matter what business you're in. Now, for some of you, this is already a refresher course on some of the things that you've learned from me in the past. But I do teach lead magnets a lot, and the reason why is because they absolutely work. So I use lead magnets that are video. I use lead magnets that are printed. I have a blog. I have a YouTube channel. I post on LinkedIn a lot. I use a lot of different lead magnets to drive traffic to my website, which we're going to talk about here in a second. So the lead magnet is designed as a ethical bribe, if you will. It is a way of you telling your prospect or your ideal client or this particular prospect, hey, I think I have a solution to your problem. That's not what you're actually saying, but you might say, hey, if you have this problem, I think you might be interested in this lead magnet. And you don't say it like that. I mean, you have a title, you have and you have a booklet or a white paper, a video, and you're going to use that to attract your prospect to yourself, and they're going to give you their name and email address in exchange for that lead magnet. And that's the trade. That's, if you will, it's the old barter system. I will give you something of value, and you'll give me something of value in return. And why do I say something of value? Because most people take their name and email address. Probably their email address is probably more important than their name these days, because they say the average business owner gets 400 emails a day. So for someone to give you their email address today, it's pretty personal to them, and to share that with you becomes you have to have something that makes them want to share that with you. So that's what a lead magnet does. And so once they have your lead magnet, that lead magnet is going to show them they have a problem, or verify they have a problem. They might have the problem and then may never talk to you again. They might click off, you've given their name and email address, and they might not be interested after that point, and they might, click off your list, and it's fine. Then they're not an ideal prospect anyway. But that being said, when they read it or they watch the video, they're going to find out, hey, I do have this problem. Okay, I really see that I do have that problem, and I really want to solve that problem. So when they get to that point, they get to a point of, hey, I want to solve the problem, but the lead magnet has now positioned you as an expert in the business. And why is it important that you are positioned as an expert? Is because people want to do business with an expert. They want to go to the expert for advice. They want to go to the expert to solve their problem. You don't have to be the only expert. You just have to be the one they know about. And this is this is almost critical. So in 1992, I purchased my first business, which happened to be a locksmith business. And we put up a sign. And that sign said keys 49 cents and up. And the reason I say we put up a sign is because when I purchased the business, it was in November. The new Yellow Pages didn't come out until the following June. And I only had a one-line listing in the Yellow Pages when I purchased that business. So I had almost 8 months before I was going to be able to increase the size of that Yellow Page advertising. So my choices were very little. And so I put up this sign that said keys 49 cents and up. And the reason the sign was so effective is because it did two things. Number one, it told my target audience that it was my target audience was the people driving in front of my business, because there was a post office 2 doors down from my business. There was approximately 35,000 cars that drove in front of my business, my locksmith business, every day. And I knew those people had one thing. They had a key, right? Because they were driving a car. So I knew that they had the very thing that I could help them with, which was get more keys. I knew they had at least one key. Most people live somewhere, so they would have at least 2 keys. And so that sign, keys 49 cents and up, it did 2 things. It talked to them. It told them that I knew they had a problem and that I could solve their problem, that I was an expert. I wasn't the only locksmith business in town, but I was the expert that they were driving by. And as long as when they came in my business, and this is critical, as long as when they came into my business, we did the job right, meaning we cut the key right the first time, then they would come back over and over again. Now, we had a lot of other products. We worked on safes, electronic door locks, door closers, a lot of other things. But the point is, my lead magnet targeted one small problem that they had. It brought them in the door. And most importantly, this is the key. Dan Kennedy refers to he or she who can spend the most to acquire the customer always wins. Well, that being said, my cost to acquire the customer was very little. I think it cost me about $90 to create the sign. So I was now attracting my ideal client at a very low cost per customer acquisition. In fact, our shop went on to cut over 50,000 keys a year. So my cost to acquire the customer was very, very low. In fact, it was almost minimal. And that's what a direct response customer acquisition system is designed to do, is to help you acquire customers where you not only have a very low cost per customer acquisition, but you make money when you acquire the customer. And that's what Dan Kennedy was talking about in his book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, The Ultimate Sales Letter. He was talking about acquiring customers and making money when you acquire the customer. And I, for years, had thought that acquiring customers was just part of your budget, that you just spent money on acquiring customers, and they would, and that was just part of your budget. That's not what he was saying at all. That's not what Dan was saying. What he was saying was you should make money when you acquire the customer, meaning your lead magnet you're going to spend money putting your lead magnet into the marketplace. You might be spending money on Facebook ad, LinkedIn, Twitter, many other, Google AdWords. There's a lot of places you can spend money to attract your ideal clients, but we're not going to cover that at all today. We might cover a little bit of that later, but depending on our time frame. But you need a lead magnet. Secondly, you need a landing page. Okay, you need a website, but a landing page on that website. So what is a landing page? A landing page is like how you signed up for this live masterclass. You'll get, basically it was a place that you go that in exchange for your name and email address, I'm going to provide you with your lead. I provided you with a way to get onto this masterclass. But if your lead magnet is a video or a audio book or a whatever it is, whatever your lead magnet is, you've got to give them a place to go. You can do that in WordPress using forms with something like GetResponse or something else, but or Infusionsoft, or there's lots of them. But you need a place for them to go, and that landing page is designed in such a way that it has a message, a short message about your lead magnet. It could be a video that's going to give them an introduction to your lead magnet. It could be what's referred to as a sales letter, which could have a title, a format laid out explaining, and we're going to actually have an entire, I'll do an entire masterclass on creating a really good landing page, the text, how to create a sales letter. And what is a sales letter? A sales letter is selling in print, okay? Now, all marketing is technically selling in print. What most brochures don't do is they don't do any selling in print. What most brochures and materials do is they talk a whole lot about technical specifications, and they talk about features, and nobody gives a crap about technical specifications or features. People want to know how your product or service can solve their problem or make their life better. That's what they care about. So your landing page needs to convey a message about the problem they have, about how to solve that problem, and it needs to have the call to action on that page, and that'll bring the response that you want. I call this the 4 R's of business. The right message in front of the right audience at the right time will bring the right response. Well, the right message is how you can solve, basically, that they do have a problem, how you can solve that problem or make their life better. When you get that message in front of them at the right time, we're going to talk about how to get it in front of them at the right time in a few minutes, but that'll bring the right response. And that's what you have to do on your landing page. You have to ask them for a response. What's the response? I'm going to provide you this lead magnet. Okay, this is now at your landing page or your website. I prefer this to be on your home page, where they have an option to get your lead magnet on the home page of your website, and they can click, make it easy, just one click, and they get a little pop-up. It said enter your name and email address, and we'll send you that lead magnet, whatever that is. Of course, you're not going to call it a lead magnet. You're going to call it what it is. For instance, this lead magnet is Prosperous in 60 live masterclass. Now, why is this a lead magnet? Well, first of all, I am looking for live coaching students. I mean, actual coaching clients. And I'm looking for a specific client. Only clients who want to grow their business from $500,000 to $3 million in the next 12 months. So that means I can't help everybody. Okay, there's a lot of people who, they're doing $200,000 a year and they want to double their business. Well, that means they want to grow their business by $200,000 in the next 12 months. That's not my ideal client. It's not. So how do I help you if you're that person? Is I offer you coaching so that you can make some money, so you can grow your business and perhaps become a client later as time goes along. And what this does is, number one, it lets you know that I absolutely know what I'm doing in business, that I have 27 years experience. I'm not bragging. I've been able to gross over $100 million in revenue in those 27 years. And I've sold around the world. I've traveled the world. I've had a really good life. I've also fallen on my face a few hundred times as well. But that being said, the experience that I have is such that it can benefit you in a great way. I mean, not everybody can say they've done $100 million in sales. Not everybody can say they've been in business for 27 straight years, going on 28 years here. And not everybody can say that. And the fact of the matter is, most of the gurus who are out there who do online business, they've actually never had a brick and mortar business. I am in one of our businesses right now. We've got a large warehouse out here. I own an LED manufacturing and distribution company, and we do business all over the country. And that's the business I'm in right now. For years, we owned a manufacturing company, and I had a giant warehouse. But now I outsource most of my warehousing, and that's another aspect for another day, why I do so much outsourcing. But the fact of the matter is, when people get to your landing page, you've got to have a good message, the right message, to the right audience, okay? And that message is you're going to exchange that message, that lead magnet that you've created for them. You're going to exchange it with them in exchange for their name and email address. And that's what a landing page does. So to create a direct response customer acquisition system, you need a lead magnet, you need a landing page, okay? Landing pages, there are a lot of companies that can help you do that. We're going to come to that in a minute. Now, the next thing is you need to manage your prospects. You need to manage them automatically. This is referred to as a CRM, which is a customer relationship manager. Now, there's a lot of CRM programs out there, from Infusionsoft to GetResponse. Currently, I use GetResponse. My friend Scott recommended a new program today. I'm going to look into it. It's owned by Frank Kern, or Frank Kern is a part of it, and I may check into it because I think it does maybe more things all in one. Currently, I do use ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is a much more higher tier and does a lot more thing in terms of landing pages. Somewhat on the CRM side, it's very lacking on the CRM side, in my opinion, but it does a lot of other things. Okay, so but I do use it. Okay, but that being said, you need a CRM to manage your prospects. You've got to be able to talk to your prospects regularly because a CRM allows you to manage them, but also to comply with the law. What does the law say? Well, if somebody gives you their name and email address and you're going to send them email, you've got to give them the option to opt out of your email if they don't want you sending them any more stuff. Not everybody who is a prospect will become your client, because some are not interested in what you have to offer. And that's okay. You want them to be able to opt out. The point is, I'm talking about creating an automated direct response customer acquisition system where most of this becomes automated until the time when you're actually talking to them face to face. And by that point, they believe you're the expert and they're ready to spend money with you. Why automate most of that? Well, because if you don't automate, your business is not scalable. To have a scalable business, you've got to have a lot of automation in place to make your business scalable. That's what I was talking about, shortly ago, is how I automate, like things like a lot of things in my LED business are 100% automated so that I don't have to do them. And it allows me more free time, because that's one of the things we're here to talk about, is how to have more free time. Well, we're talking about automating much of your marketing. So, that's why you need to have a CRM. Now, CRMs are designed so that you can set up pre-written emails. Now, I write a lot of blog posts, but I also write a lot of emails in advance. So when someone gets your lead magnet, you want to have a series of emails that are based around problems associated with that lead magnet. You want to have some in those emails. This is what you're going to do with your CRM. You're going to talk to your prospects, and you're going to talk about those problems they have. And I say talk, I'm talking about you can send them emails. The emails are either going to be written, or they might have a link to a video that they can watch. But you're going to talk to them and tell them, hey, I understand you have this problem. There is a solution to the problem, and you're going to explain that solution, not in great detail. Why aren't you going to explain that solution in great detail? Because you want them to come to you for the solution. But you want them to know that you know the answer to that problem, and that you have the solution, and that when they're ready to solve that problem and make their life better, that they come to you. And the only way to really manage that in any big scale is you got to have a CRM that'll help you do that. And a CRM, there's a lot of them out there, but each email you send to them, you can ask for a response. And I highly recommend asking for a response. Sometimes just simply asking for a reply and asking them a question in the email is a great way to find out how what their temperature is. Okay, they call that the thermometer close, where you ask them a question and they give you a response of how they're feeling. But that being said, you're going to use a CRM, and that's how you have to manage your prospects automatically. And the only way to do that, I think, effectively is in a CRM. A lot of startup businesses, they try to skimp on things like CRM, creating a lead magnet. These are things that you got to spend money on. If you're not willing to spend money on that, you're not going to grow your business. If you're not going to invest in your business, like I said earlier, my target clients are trying to grow their business from $500,000 to $3 million. Well, if you're going to do that, you've got to spend some money to make money, and that means spending money on CRM, on having great materials created. I am a direct response customer. I'm a direct response copywriter. I've created a program that I call a direct response customer acquisition system, but I'm a Ray Edwards certified direct response copywriter. Ray Edwards is he's probably one of the best known copywriters in the industry. If you don't use copywriters, you wouldn't know who Ray Edwards is, but he's been around. If someone has been in the online sales business, in coaching or in online marketing, they've probably used Ray Edwards, or they've used one of his direct response copywriters. And he doesn't have a lot of direct response copywriters that he certifies, and I am one of them. What does that mean to you? That means that I am really experienced. Since 2002, I've been a direct response copywriter, and over the past 3 years, I've studied Ray Edwards' work. I've studied in his copywriting academy, and then I went on to become a certified copywriter through Ray Edwards. And what does that mean to you? That means I can help you create really good copy that talks to your prospects and shows them how you can solve their problem or make their life better. Because nobody cares, like I said earlier, nobody cares about features and specifications. Nobody cares about technical crap that, engineers, they're great at making stuff, but they're not great at selling. And that's your job as the business owner. It's your job as a salesperson. You may not be one and the same, but it's your job to get that message to your prospect in such a way that they understand that you're an expert and that they understand how you're going to make their life better. And I believe the best way to manage your prospects is automatically, and you have to have a good CRM. So those are 3 things so far. I said I'd give you 5. Well, I didn't say I'd give you 5. I said I'm going to show you how to 5 steps. That's what I'm going to do, is show you 5 steps to create a direct response customer acquisition system. 1, you need a lead magnet. 2, you need a landing page. Number 3, how to manage your prospects automatically. Number 4 is the first purchase your customer makes is never intended to be their last. Remember the 49-cent key sign I discussed? Well, the 49-cent key sign was designed to get them in to purchase keys, right? So, which is a very low, inexpensive purchase. Well, at that time, we did large surveillance systems. We did card access systems that sometimes were $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And we did them for major corporations. That being said, somebody comes in my business and purchases a $2 key. Now, keys 49 cents and up was we had aluminum keys that we would sell for 49 cents, and we sold very few of them because we didn't really recommend people using aluminum keys because aluminum keys would break. Most of the keys we recommended were brass. So that being said, very rarely do we ever sell the cheap, inexpensive keys, but we had it as an option, okay? But the point is, the first purchase your customer makes is not intended to be their last. So when you use a lead magnet, it's designed to attract a prospect to your business and get them to make a purchase from you, because a small purchase, it is much harder to get the first purchase than it is to get someone to purchase from you again. So the idea behind a lead magnet is to get buy-in, technically, once somebody has received your lead magnet, they have given you buy-in. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to spend more money with you. However, they've bought in mentally with you to some extent. So it is easier to get that person to purchase again than it would be to go get someone new. So that being said, customer acquisition is about, nobody likes to use the word targeting, but I like to use the word targeting because I want you to target your ideal prospect. Because by targeting them, nobody wants to feel like they're a target. But at the same time, you want the right clients. The right clients are going to make your life better. They're going to allow you to have free time. They're going to not haggle on price. They're going to pay you what you're worth. That's what you want. So getting someone to purchase from you in the beginning, that first purchase should be a high margin item. Okay, I'm going to use electricians for instance. I work with a lot of electrical contractors who want to grow their business exponentially. And one of the things we help them do is we help them create a lead magnet based around facility grounding. Now, what I found out when I've been in the electrical industry for a little over 20 years, have a background in manufacturing and distribution and electrical delivery, efficient delivery of electricity through power quality, products that were centered around that, and generated electricity, a lot of different things. So my background was pretty vast. But what we found is that about 95% of all facilities in the United States, and mostly we did commercial and industrial work, about 95% of the facilities were not properly grounded. And we found out why they weren't properly grounded, because most of the electrical inspectors did not carry grounding inspection, basically ground testing equipment. And if the inspectors didn't carry ground testing equipment, what were the odds that the people who actually put the grounding systems in actually carried ground testing equipment? Well, they were very slim. So basically what somebody would do when they'd build a building, they'd drive a couple of ground rods, connect it to the facility ground, bond the neutral, and assume everything is perfect. So we help create lead magnets built around why facility grounding or having a poorly grounded system shortens the life of your equipment, that equipment costs more to maintain, has more downtime, and basically uses more electricity to do its job because it's prematurely wearing out. And that being said, we've created a lot of lead magnets based around that concept. And what it did is it drives business to the contractor. What kind of business? Well, it would drive a grounding inspection. Typically about $199 is what our contractors would charge. So this first purchase, this $199 purchase, which is very easy. You got a clamp on ground meter. It actually clamps around the ground meter and it sends an impulse down the ground rod. I said clamps around the ground meter. The ground meter clamps around the ground rod, sends an impulse down the rod, and gives a reading back instantaneously. The meter costs about $1,200, but they got an instant read back, and it tells them what the ground is. They can push hold. Well, they now have inspected the grounding, and most of the time it's out of, basically it's not, and it's, the National Electric Code says it should be 25 ohms to ground or less. I know that's technical, but that being said, many times they're way out of whack. So now they're able to show the client, hey, look, your grounding is not up to snuff. And what does that mean? Well, you've already told them in the lead magnet why that's costing them money. So the next question for them is how much it's going to cost me to get my ground, to have the grounding brought up to code. And most of the contractors, so now they've received $199. Most of them would credit the $199 to like a $1,250 job. That's going to take them a couple hours. Their technician a couple hours to do a grounding service. So now you've got a straight labor job equating into a higher profitability, higher profit job, grounding, right? So and all of this would create a very nice cash flow. But we centered it around, if you order the free grounding inspection, do a free energy audit. And the energy audit would typically, and for many years we've used a lighting upgrade. As we moved into 2009 and 2010, that lighting upgrade was an LED upgrade. And those grounding inspections generated huge jobs, huge LED jobs, sometimes $100,000, $150,000 jobs without even a single bid. In other words, a high margin job. So the first little job, what I was getting at is the customer's first purchase was a small purchase, and it certainly wasn't their last. Some of those went on to be $150,000 jobs. Now, why do I bring that up? Because I said my ideal client is looking to grow their business $500,000 to $3 million. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out if you can have 6-figure jobs or high 5-figure jobs coming in, you don't have to do very many of those a month. Plus, with a lot of smaller jobs coming in and that are very high profit, you can create in a very short period of time a very different scenario for your business than what you're currently dealing with, because your current business might be dealing with low bid and low profit jobs, and now all of a sudden you've got this other thing going on with lead magnets that's generating a higher margin and without any bidding, and all of a sudden you're generating all this revenue over here, and you can still do the bidding jobs that require a lot of technical expertise and all of that, but you're going to do less of it because you can make more profit over here. And that's the idea, is when you can create profitable jobs without a high amount of skill to get the jobs done, then your business becomes different, and you get to go home at night instead of chasing more bids, running bids all the way till 9 o'clock at night, reading plans and all of that type of stuff. A lot of that goes to the wayside when you're generating large profitable jobs. And that's the point is, the first purchase your customer makes is never intended to be the last. So that's part of a direct response customer acquisition system is us, me helping you get that set up. So create a lead magnet with a landing page, manage your prospects automatically. You're going to talk to them regularly. What's it going to have them do? It's going to generate the fourth thing is generate a purchase from your customer, a smaller purchase that's going to put them on what I like to call a sales ladder, where they're going to purchase more over time. And then you're going to use that CRM system to follow up constantly. Remember, the right message to the right audience at the right time produces the right result. Well, in order to be there at the right time, today may not be the right time for the majority of your customers. Today may not be the right time for any of your customers. So you have to be there when they're ready to purchase. About a massive percentage of your customers it's not the right time for them to even think about talking to you about whatever it is, the product or service that you sell. It's not the right time right now. It could be right in 2 weeks, it could be right in 2 months, it could be right in 2 years. Well, the only way for you to be there when it's right is you have to follow up with them automatically. Because there's no way, I don't care how good of a salesperson or salespeople you hire, they're not going to follow up as good as an automated system. When you have automated systems in place and you create 52 weeks of emails, a single email every week, or you create 12 months of emails, an email every month, whatever it is you choose to do, I prefer weekly. At least once a week, you should be talking to your prospects and clients. And that could be a short video, 2-3 minute video. It doesn't matter. Remember, we're going to talk about the problem. We're going to talk about how that there is a solution to the problem, and that you're an expert and that you can help them solve that problem. That's what the emails are designed to do. But you need to create automated systems that are going to talk to them, following up with them regularly. But it's automated. You create them in advance. So if you're busy, create 52 of them, or you can outsource this, mind you. Especially the larger companies, most of my clients can afford to hire somebody to outsource this. And in many cases, that's what I do for my clients, is I help them create all of this. So they hire me as a direct response copywriter to write this out for them and create this for them. That's how I can help them create a lot more sales in the next 12 months. But they have to invest the money to do that. So you can outsource all of that. You don't have to do it yourself. But the point is, you can do it yourself. But I recommend at least 52 emails. And then about 7 months in, you want to probably start writing more emails or making videos or whatever it is you're going to do. So the right message to the right audience at the right time by having an automated system, using that CRM that you created to follow up for the next 12 months, the next 24 months, 36 months. You know, people ask me all the time, how long should I follow up with my prospects? Basically, until they click off of your list, they don't want it anymore, or until they buy, right? I mean, the expression goes, until they buy, fly, or die. Well, what does that mean? Until they buy from you, until they leave, fly, okay, or until they die, meaning their email doesn't work anymore. I don't want to be flippant about it. I mean, not you don't. I mean, that's not what I mean by it. But the point is, until their email doesn't work anymore, you keep talking to them for forever, as long as you're going to be in business. Why? Because you're the expert. They know you're an expert. You want them to know. You want them to feel a comfort level that you're going to be there for many years to come. So not just following up with your prospects, but as they become clients, you're going to continue to follow up with them in a separate series of emails, and you're going to talk to them on a regular basis. So that being said, that is a direct response customer acquisition system as a whole, okay? So now you have the opportunity to drive more traffic. And because once you set the system up, you can drive traffic to your website using Facebook, using, I like LinkedIn. It's one of my favorite platforms at this time if you're in the business to business space, because that's where the owners and managers of most of the companies that you want as clients are. And you have the ability to build a relationship with them through LinkedIn. But Facebook ads work, especially if you're moving into the residential market, Twitter, some of the other platforms. Most of what I do is probably, I'd say probably 90% LinkedIn, and then I do Facebook and Twitter, the other 10%. So now I am going to move to questions that have come in over the past, since we launched this. So now this is where I'm going to say, next week, make sure you send your questions in early so that I have the ability to answer them during the live session. And so Scott sent this in, and I'm going to need my glasses to read it because the text is a little small because I printed it out. But Scott sent in, so many times people don't want to admit they have a problem, or they don't realize they have a problem. What is a good technique to inform someone they have a problem without implying they're stupid, or getting them to understand and agree they have a problem or a need? Now, I've seen people talk about this, okay, and they talk about this in unconscious incompetence. This is a graphic that Scott put up, okay, a little graphic here. So it starts out with unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. Well, I don't agree with that 100%, okay? I have sold electrical products in a very technical world. If you ask most people how grounding, I'm going to use grounding again because I already brought the subject up for this discussion. If you ask people, is your grounding a problem? People will be like, no, I don't have no freaking problem with grounding. They wouldn't even know they have a building ground, right? They don't even know they have a problem. So to say that somebody doesn't know they have a problem and not make them feel stupid, well, some of these people who create these graphics say that you technically cannot get somebody who is in the oblivious stage, oblivious. They don't know they have the problem, okay? Or in the pondering stage, okay? They might know they have a problem, but they're not even barely thinking about it, or they're engaged, or they have a need, okay? So this stages of buying, which is this graphic about from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. The point is, I believe that that when you go to the doctor, okay, if you have cancer, okay, you don't know you have cancer, but you might have a little pain, okay? Now, the doctor kind of pushes on that pain a little bit, and then he wants to run some tests, okay? Why do you allow him to run the test? Because you have pain, okay? So like a doctor, when you're in business, you've got to know your customers' problems, the problems that are associated with your products. I mean, they might have a drinking problem. You don't have to know that, okay? I'm talking about problems that are associated, unless you are an alcoholic counselor. You got to know your customers' problems so well. You got to know the symptoms of those problems so well that when you want to describe those problems to them, you have to describe the symptoms. And you have to describe them in such detail that once you do, and you do that in your lead magnet, once you do, they go, holy crap, I have those symptoms. And then you describe the disease, what the disease is. So now you've described the problem. Now they know they have the disease, and then you describe a cure. Now, you don't describe how they get the cure, because you're the cure, right? So what you're going to do is you describe that. You got to be like a doctor, and you've got to recognize the symptoms. And when you recognize the symptoms, you can describe the symptoms in such detail that they will realize they have the disease. So if they don't have the symptoms, they don't have the disease, right? So then they're not your ideal prospect. But that is how you take somebody who's in the oblivious stage and you move them to the need, okay? I take it beyond need. I believe people will buy what they want. You give them what they need. So what do they want? They want that disease gone, that pain, whatever that pain is that's associated with your product or service. They want that pain gone. But they might not have even known they had the pain. But when you start describing it in detail, then they realize they have the pain. They realize they have the disease, and then they're going to want the cure, okay? And then they got to come to you for the cure. So that's what I believe is the best way to inform somebody they have a problem when they don't know it themselves, okay? Is you have to be like a doctor, and you have to recognize the symptoms. You have to be able to diagnose those symptoms, but more importantly, you have to describe the symptoms in such detail that they feel extremely sick and that they want the cure, okay? And that's the best way to overcome that. Another question I received from Vlad was, besides LinkedIn, what is your number 2 social media channel you use to grow your business? Well, I kind of crossed that a few minutes ago, Vlad. I use, and by the way, Scott, I hope that answered your question. Now, Vlad, my really number 2 is probably Facebook. I use my davidmulvaney.com and Facebook. I post my blog. I do blog posts, a link to my blog post on both of my Facebook. I also have the Contractor Blueprint, which is another Facebook page that I have. So I post on Facebook a lot, and then I do run Facebook ads. So I would say Facebook is number 2, but Twitter is becoming another platform that I've been using more of. I have a very small following on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm growing those, okay? But I do, I would say I also use YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I do a web a podcast every week with Matt Hutchins, and it's called Profitability MD. And we go in depth on how to be more profitable, how to build wealth. Matt's a wealth advisor and has helped. He helps high 7-figure individuals grow their wealth. And so Matt and I do this podcast to help grow your business and grow your wealth. So again, this is this format is you send in your questions before. Now, I don't see any more questions in the chat box. So if there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and I'm going to say next Thursday, 4 o'clock, we'll reconvene here again and send in your questions. And I look forward to covering a lot of different subjects for you over the coming weeks, but most importantly, helping you grow your business with more consistent cash flow, more time to enjoy your life, and really how to design your dream business. Take care.